I'm already on this side of the world. I have lived through the pain and I know the story firsthand. Why not start something and just start motivating people and students that yes, they can do it too. I have done that.
Today, you're going to hear from one of my new friends, Anu, out of beautiful San Francisco, California. She immigrated over from India and got her new start here with her business, and she has gone all over the country as we dive into that. And she also helps others who are wanting to immigrate into beautiful United States and get their fresh start here. And we dive into all of it here in just a few moments. So enjoy and stay tuned for the next episode of the Finally Marketing That Works podcast. Well, hello and welcome to another edition of the Finally Marketing That Works podcast. I'm here with another new friend, beautiful California, Anu. Anu, how are you doing today?
Hi, Mitchell. Thank you so much. I'm doing great. Thank you.
Fantastic. Well, as we dive in, I would love just to put the ball in your court, let you introduce yourself, and do a deep dive on what the day in the life of Anu looks like in California and what exactly it is that you do.
I wear many hats, and a day in life of Anu looks very all over the places, but still very well managed. I usually work with students and my clients from all over the world. So when I wake up in the morning, I have messages from people from all over the places. My inboxes are always full. So once I wake up, I set aside time to get back to them, and I hop right on with my team, ask them what's their plan today, what they want to do, and then if I have anything more for them, like with my podcast or anything in marketing, then I ask them, hey, I think this is something new we should look into and get started. So they prepare a plan and then help me out and start working on that. And if I get some time, I go take a run around my neighborhood. I live in a beautiful place called Marina. It's very close to San Francisco. I'm surrounded by the ocean all around, and I have beautiful trails, birds, cranes, swans, and gardens around. So it's a paradise.
Love it. My wife and I were just in California last month and a half ago. It was just absolutely beautiful. We were doing a huge long road trip, and we were in, we did, now I'm going to space all the Pismo Beach area. We did a lot of time in Pismo Beach and Monterey, and man, that state, it really is beautiful, and it has so many different, not seasons, just types of land. Like you have the beach, you have the desert, which we went through, Palm Springs and Palm Desert, and it's just like so many different environments there in California, which I think is just awesome and incredible in and of itself. And I'm guessing, I know we'll dive into this a little bit. I know you came over into the United States and you fell on California, I think, first off, right? Is that where you went first?
No, I've been all over the places. I've been in Boston, New York, New Jersey, Philadelphia, Washington, D.C., in California, but with different places in California as well. I've been in Santa Clara, LA, close to LA, not LA downtown per se, and then I'm here in the area.
You've traveled more around the country, I feel like I have. So that's awesome. So your first play when you first I guess I won't steal any thunder here. If you want to still, I guess, dive into your story. How'd you make it? How'd you make it to the United States, and what that kind of story entailed for you for studies?
I came to US to study, and it was really tough for me to come from India to study in the US because the cultural barrier is tremendous, and people are just not as much aware in India about their lifestyle or even thinking about it. I think my life could be better, or they're just like, if we are if we have been given this life, we are just supposed to live it. That's what their mindset is. But then when I was preparing to come to the US, it took a long time, like a year and a half or so. It wasn't easy at all. And I realized that we gotta ask questions like, why not better? Why this? I could be better. And I want better. And that was one of my reasons that kind of motivated me to move. And once I came here, I finished my studies, and I realized that students, not only in India, but all over the world who want to study abroad, not only in the US, but any country like Canada, UK, anywhere in Europe, they don't have guidance, proper guidance. And people are ready to pay money, but the biggest problem is there are not many mentors or counselors who can help students get to the country and the course and the university they want to for studies. And I was like, I'm already on this side of the world. I have lived through the pain and I know the story firsthand. Why not start something and start motivating people and students that yes, they can do it too. I have done that. And I see all these business owners in India who have not even left the city they were born in, and they run this counseling business, abroad counseling business. I'm like, for me that doesn't make sense. Like, if you haven't ever been abroad, how are you supposed to know or guide people to move abroad? That's the first credibility. And the big problem is, with me, I'm too young for the work I do, and people start dismissing. In our culture, in the culture abroad, it's considered that the older you are, the more knowledgeable you are, and the more wisdom you have. But that's not true. I have seen old people who are foolish, and these counselors fall in the same category. So when I look at it, and when I tell my clients and my students, hey, these are my qualifications, and you are never gonna find anybody with these qualifications. So you take this list, go all over the world and see if you find somebody. You're free to go there, and if you don't, I will be here to help you. And every time I have said that, that student might have gone somewhere, done their research, but in the end they have come back.
Man, and I would 100% agree that I would rather go with somebody who has done it before and has experience with it. You know, like when right before my wife and I got married, it's pretty common usually you get marriage counseling before you get married, and they talk about what marriage is going to be like and all these different things. And I was like, I felt like I had a fairly good grasp of it even beforehand, but I was still like, no, I want to make sure I prepare for the success here. So, I had one of my friends who was a pastor. We went and met with him, and we went through these books, 2 books called Saving Your Marriage Before It Starts. We went through those together, and it was really good. We learned a lot about each other, and it was one of the favorite things in that book was it asked you questions to talk about with the person that I never would have asked my wife. And it was like random things like, does the toilet paper go over or under? And do you put the butter in the fridge or on the counter? Like weird things like that. And but it was one of those things, like the pastor that was like heading it up for us is happily married for like 20, 30 years. And I know he has advice he could give me. I would want to have a marriage counselor that had been divorced 3 times or had never been married before. Like, that'd be weird for me. I want somebody who's been through it, has good advice for me. Same when my wife and I had a kid. I wanted to talk to people who actually had a kid and, hey, how did it go? And because you can read as much as you want in books, same with like what you're talking here, but until you've really experienced it, I feel like you have just a better outlook that people are more receptive to hearing. So I totally agree with you on that. So as you're helping these people come over and do studies and whatever it is, how are they finding you? And is it strictly kind of referral, or are they finding you online? How has that been for them to find you?
Most of the people I find are through referrals. Because of my success rate, I get tons of referrals. And if they want to find me anywhere, I have an Instagram page. I have a really LinkedIn. I'm not sure if you have seen my LinkedIn, but my LinkedIn showcases a great deal. My past clients and students have wrote me glorious recommendations of their experience with me. So that kind of just helps build credibility amongst the deceptive and falsely claiming other counselors who don't even have, like, not even degree, but even a LinkedIn profile. All they have is a WhatsApp number that they never show their faces on. It's tricky. And I have also written quite a bit on a website called as Quora. Have you heard of that?
I haven't. No. What is that?
QUORA.com. Quora. And it's a question answer. It's a kind of social media, but it's a question answer website. People, you could say it's a more sophisticated version of Reddit. People ask questions. If we know the answers, we can go and write answers on that. I've written so many answers about my own journey that people, and it's been indexed in the Google, because I don't know how I wrote it. I have really no idea. But when people search it, the first thing they find is my name.
Man, nice.
And and then they hop onto my LinkedIn page or my Instagram page, and that's where everything starts.
Man, and I just had another interview with somebody for the podcast who is big into SEO and helping rank. And one of the things he said was just having biggest thing he said is content out there, are custom articles, especially if you can write them from your perspective, that if you have the knowledge, and obviously you do, so and that speaks volumes right there as you're writing these articles that people are finding. You're answering the question that they have, and of course if you're answering the question in this Google search that they randomly are in another country searching on how to do this and they find your article, why would they not at least go to your LinkedIn or go to your website to say, I wonder if Anu can help me maybe get over there and get settled in with college or whatever it is. So man, continue to do those for sure. Are you doing a lot of writing as well then on your own website for like blogging?
Not yet. Actually, the time has been a big constraint for me to manage. I do have a writer who's been helping me write things, and I have a SEO manager who helps those articles get properly formatted before they are put out. So we have been working on the first set of articles. I think we have first set of 5 articles that we are working on, and once they have been finalized, we are gonna start to put them out. And it's been slow work, and my entire work has been slow compared to what other people's do, but I think I would rather be slow and steady than rushing in.
Yeah.
And having no direction after reaching where I am supposed to, like having no direction now what next. I want to be there, so I'm like, I'll take one step at a time. And I know if I keep, I don't know, I have this unusual amount of faith in hard work. Like if we keep putting work in consistently, it's gonna be okay. Success is achievable.
I agree. And with this last year, of course, it was a very interesting year, especially for you being in California. I know, strict lockdowns and all that. How was having the specific business and the industry that you're in? How was that for you going through 2020, where of course, people were working remote, going to school remote? Kind of how did that all play out for you?
Pretty good. People, so most of my clients are internationals, and they come from a country which is not as developed as US, Canada, UK, or all these first world countries. None of their countries are that developed. So the first question they would ask me always before pandemic is, so if we don't meet, how are you going to help me? And for my developed country brain, I would say online, on phone. Everything can be done on phone, email, everything. You can sign documents and all that. And they wouldn't believe me. But now, after pandemic, people are starting to get more open to online counseling, remote lessons, just remote handling of stuff. So that way, that gives them more sense of understanding how things work that they didn't earlier. And I want to tell you a story in the same line to show how developed countries work and how underdeveloped or developing countries work. So in US, if you want to apply for a personal loan anywhere or even mortgage, like buying a house, a home loan, everything is done online. We don't have to go to a bank in person. They send us documents, we sign them DocuSign or a PDF signer. Everything's secured, and even the process of closing is secured. I think the only thing we need to do is notary for the house, and that's about it. And also, if we are trying to get a personal loan, we can just apply online with like American Express or Chase Bank, and that's it. We fill out the details, we give our social, or if it's SIN number for Canadians, or it could be a national tax number for Australians. We give that, and it's approved, and the loan amount is credited to our bank account. But in India, you gotta be in person with a pen in your hand to sign using that pen in front of at least 2 bank officials for them to verify you're a genuine, real person in flesh who exists, whom your passport belongs to, whom your, in India they call it a PAN number, that's the equivalent of social security, that PAN number belongs to. And after that, you need a witness to verify that the person in the passport and PAN is the same as you, and then you sign the papers, and after that they verify a week or 2 weeks after, and then you get the money.
Jeez.
That's how the life is. And it is so different. So for these people from these countries, it's difficult to believe or trust that everything can be done online is worlds apart. That's the reason. And I'm going to tell you why getting a loan in India is so difficult. Have you heard of that beer called as Kingfisher?
I don't think so.
Yeah, it was a very big famous brand. I think it was an Indian brand. So the person who owned Kingfisher beer also owned airlines, the same name, Kingfisher. And that person got a loan from a bank of close to $1 billion or something in India. Okay. And after getting the loan, he was never not able to pay, and he was delinquent on that. So he ran out of the country overnight, abandoning the company and the airline. 500,000 people were jobless within the night. And that is one of the reasons why banks treat people as objects when they want any kind of loan in the country. Because rich people take advantage and it falls down to the poor people. And the circle of mistrust, deception, incredibility just keeps on continuing. It's a vicious circle. And to get out of that vicious circle takes a lot of dedication.
Man, and there's no way that those in India can get loans from another country. Like, you can't like go cross country lines to get loans, I'm assuming, right?
No, because they don't have the power. Their passport is not as powerful as other countries, like the developed countries have. So they have literally no way to get out of their miserable life. So that's why it's a vicious circle.
Man. And so, you being here in the United States now, how has it been having a business, owning a business, and funding if you've needed to get funding? How has that been for you since being here?
It's pretty good. I'm gonna be very honest. If I were in India, I would not have been able to do what I'm doing today, ever in my entire life. Because for me, the greatest concern on my plate would have been to be able to afford my food next week and to be able to have a place to live in. That would have been my main concern. And I have lived homeless. I've slept hungry in India and even in the US for a couple of days. And I know it's tough. And so my company is self-funded. I fund my own company, any way I can. So I pay my own employees out of pocket. There was no initial investment I saved up through my job and everything in the beginning, and then I put everything in the company.
Good for you. That's awesome. What a story too, just to come over and start that and build up your success to help other people do the same thing, which I absolutely love. So please continue to do what you're doing, which I know you will. Uh, what would you say has been in marketing your company? I know you said referrals, biggest ones. Have you tried to do any other type of marketing and it just either flopped, didn't work, or it did work really well? Has there been anything else that you've tried?
I have tried marketing. My Facebook marketing has completely flopped, and I'm not even ashamed to talk about that because I think I didn't have a good guidance to start with, and that was the greatest reason that it flopped. And the greatest problem I have had is finding good people and to be able to help me. Um, Again, coming back to the culture of people outside of a developed country is me only focusing on themselves. So if I'm trying to find somebody, they are like, okay, so how much are you gonna pay me? I'm like, okay, I can pay you this much, and these are your job duties. They're like, all right, fine. And first month goes okay, but next month they don't perform. I'm like, hey, you haven't performed anything. I can't keep paying you like this. And then the retaliation starts. It's all about money, and nobody wants to put in the work. And this is not the only instant where I've seen that. I've seen that in many, many cases. And that's where breaks my heart, because if someone's trusting you with your qualities and your skills, why not build that bridge? Because you never know what's going to help you in the future. If maybe you want to move abroad, and then the person, like in this case me, I might be able to help them move abroad. So people don't think like that. They think about the short term gains. Like, I'm going to get paid like $500 for this. It's good. I'm going to be good. Like, but what next? What happens when you spend those 500? Have you thought about that? No. And I have, like, it's a lot of people get offended with the way I speak, but to be honest, it's the culture that's rampant all over.
Man.
And it's also rampant in the families. I have had family members who were like social media experts, my cousin, I'm just gonna say it out loud, my cousin, he promised he's gonna do my social media marketing and everything. He took a good amount of money, but in the end, when I saw the results were not that good, and then when I complained to him, he was like, oh, I'm gonna talk to the developer, I'm gonna talk to the manager. I'm like, but what next? You got your money, but is that what you wanted? And that's one of the reasons why you are still living a miserable life, just counting money, not actually counting your happiness. And it's not my fault. I gave you the chance, but you didn't want to take it. I can't do anything more than that. And this is just one of the story.
Dang. Yeah, that's crazy. I guess we'll kind of, as we kind of wrap things up, if people wanted to get in touch with you in a specific way, what's the best way they can get in touch with you? Best way they can, tune into your podcast or follow you online?
Yes. They can text me on LinkedIn. They can search using my name, Anu Wat, ANU space WAT. And they can listen to my podcast on Amazon, Spotify. My podcast name is Sprouting Wings with Anu. I have been ranking top 2 in India and Costa Rica pretty consistently. So I think that's work done well to be able to rank in a country of 1.5 billion people.
No, that's incredible. Way to go.
Yeah. And if they want to follow me, they can follow me on Instagram at Flyings with Wings Educations.
Fantastic. Well, Anu, thank you so much. I'm glad we finally got the chat. I know we had some fun trying to schedule this back and forth, but I'm glad we finally got to schedule it. And just please keep continuing to do what you do, and just proud of you for what you've already done and what you've proven. And I hope you're able to continue to help people get over here and have an awesome life.
Thank you. It's a pleasure speaking with you and your audience. I had a great time.
One of my favorite things about the United States of America is the opportunity that the country provides to those who live here. And Anu is a perfect case study of that, moving over from India and starting her business here, and now helping others to immigrate to the United States to get their fresh start here as well. If you or a loved one is in need of her services, I encourage you to reach out to her. You are in great hands. She also has a podcast, so I would encourage you to tune into that as well. We'll be here, as always, next week with another awesome guest, so stay tuned, and we'll see you next week on the Finally Marketing That Works podcast. We'll see you then.